No, get her more than that. There you go. Oh, nice ditch with a cheap shot. I've got just 60 acres to finish up with the strip tiller here this morning. I want to get that done. Fine. And then I'll probably come back to the yard and clean some stuff up before Onyx and I head out to go sit in the deer blind for a while this evening. Looks like the bunker's full at the local elevator. There's just a smidgen of corn left in this area, not a lot, but we've got rain coming in 2 days and it gets a lot colder, so everybody that's got stuff is going hard right now. We've got another spot here where we're throwing some drain tile in. This is a ditch that kind of comes out of nowhere on sort of a big side hill here. So we're gonna run a pipe underneath it, take it underground. That way it doesn't keep washing the soil out down the hill, so it's gonna prevent some erosion. We snaked it up into the neighbor's field there as well, because we know the water comes from that area. The whole idea there is to prevent the erosion so that we can farm straight across it, take the water underground instead of washing the soil away with it. That's one of the advantages to drain tile when you do it right. Air pressure's good. Let that thing warm up and make sure tire pressures all look good back here on the actual tires. Make sure everything looks good back here. It'd be nice if there was a way to prevent the soil buildup on the disc blades here. I notice it does a lot nicer job when those blades are clean. You don't get the dirt sticking to it, but look at that stripper. And after having trouble all day with the front meter the other day, now the rear isn't working. Drive failure in the rear for a minute, and then it kicks in, it puts on way too much product. Oh, all right, I got a question for you on this air card again. When I start out, it says there's a drive failure in the rear meter, so it's not putting any product on. And after 200 feet, it kicks in, and it's like 400 and some pounds of product, and it just jumps all over the place inconsistently. All right. Yeah, thanks, Eric. As I suspected, he figures maybe it's a speed sensor, which I adjusted the one, thinking maybe that was it, but it didn't help, but maybe it's just shot. I'm not gonna try to explain things here, but it's a setting in the monitor. It's not the speed sensor, and I know that through a test I did here. Something needs to be configured differently in the monitor. I don't know where that would be. Yeah, it went all day on that the other day now. So I don't know. I mean, I haven't changed anything other than that. If it was the speed sensors, why is it giving me, you know, it's still giving me speeds and it's inconsistent. You know, it was really high, now it's low, and the front one was correct, now it's high. I mean, what are the odds that they both go bad and read differently like that? Well, that's what's so frustrating here, is the whole thing should be so simple, and it's just been constant problems, and there's just not that much to it. I calibrated one of the meters, the back meter, and it helped, so I'm going to recalibrate both of them now. You know, 1 minute I go from loving this whole setup to absolutely hating it. I look at it here and I think, yeah, I can put down all my P and K. I could add anhydrous to this, I could put our nitrogen down, we could put all our nutrients down in one pass, control it ourselves, eliminate some tillage, maybe get rid of a pass in the spring, and it's beautiful. And then the next minute I'm fighting problems like this and thinking, if I add anhydrous to it, it's another complication. I could spend a week out here fighting computer issues when the weather's about to change and we're wasting time. It's just so frustrating, the back and forth. You know, if we just go to spreading a flat rate of fertilizer on this and tilling it in, it's so much simpler, and it's worked for 100 years. and you just spread it and dig it in. And there's no computer issues. There's nothing to fight like this. It's a roller coaster of emotions. So I've gotten out and recalibrated multiple times, and I get a little bit closer every time. We changed the product a little bit that we were putting in here, so that it has a different weight. And the computer was not correctly recalculating for the weight of the product, and I wasn't putting in the correct values. I think I got it figured out here, because every time I recalibrate it, it gets closer and it throws less codes at me, and now I've gone 5 acres and I haven't had a single code. So once again, I think we're golden. Somebody broke onto this property and left a rock right in the middle of this field. Some people's kids. Look at how pretty that is now. Now we're just doing a beautiful job. It's just all these little details that I get hung up on, and I guess once you know what you're doing, and you got things set right, you can move, right? But it's frustrating getting to that point. Sure wish I had anhydrous on this thing. Decided I'd better get out and check manually here. Spin the crank over on the cart, make sure everybody's feeding out just fine. And to no big surprise, I found that these two are not ending up just fine. Which means I've got a plug somewhere. Something's not feeding, and who knows for how long. My guess is that it's not in the meters, because there's 2 meters feeding, and if one of them was plugged, the other one would still be feeding, and there's nothing coming out. So it's almost got to be in a hose. And since it's both of them, it's not this hose or this hose. It's probably somewhere in that one. That's full. There's no air to it. This one's flowing. When I spin the manual crank here, there's not product coming out of this far hole, which means this is not feeding this tube. You can see the tube sitting full of fertilizer right there, but it should still have been getting fed from the back. Seems like the tube might be plugged somewhere still. But the meter roll, that shouldn't affect that, and it's not feeding out right now. That should not be that stiff, I don't think. Oh, that shouldn't be like that. The back one feeds fine, the front one doesn't, and the tube is full. I'll bet the bar is open. I guess we solve one issue at a time, so we'll get this meter open. Time to get salty, but I gotta shut it off first. Salty time, boys. Ouch! Ouch! How exactly does the positrack in the rear end of a Plymouth work? Well, now the end one's open. These are barely open. The middle ones don't do anything. For the love of God! I've never been this far beyond my point of patience with anything. I got the meter open. Now I've got issues here. Just beyond this pipe, somewhere there's a blockage, not allowing it to flow. So the meter's open, but the pipe will not flow. So I've got to get that pipe open. And I think I'll be able to blow it out to here, but there's a blockage somewhere up there. Up in this area, because if you knock on the pipe, there's fertilizer in this one, none of the other ones. So somewhere in here, because this seems to be wide open. So it's got to be probably in that bend. Which is, of course, the most likely place to get a blockage, and also the least convenient to unblock. I I still can't get air pressure through that too. What is the deal? It's almost got to be blocked in the tank then. At the bottom of the tank. I want this to work so badly. Okay, this end is open. That end's open. Now we'll turn the fan on with that unhooked and see if we can at least get it to flow up to the connection point. Why is that happening when the meter's not turning? I assumed it was cleaning the hose out, but it just keeps going. Something's not shutting off in the meter roll. I've got it mocked up there against the connection point, and I've got air here. You can see we've pushed some pellets through, but it's not nearly like the other ones, so it's still blocked somewhere. I can see it sitting there. There's just no air pressure in that one. Half of the others. Honestly, I think it's open, it just doesn't have the air pressure. So it has to be blocked in the meter, right? I've dug that out 3 times. Certainly does not appear to be plugged in there. All rows flowing pretty smoothly. Oh, that stings in open cuts. Ow! Ah. And the meter's open as well. Which essentially means there's no reason for this problem. It's such a simple system. There's no reason for all these shenanigans. There's no pressure there. I was assuming that the line was plugged, which it was, but it was plugged because it doesn't get enough air pressure to push fertilizer. So even with the line unplugged, unhooked at the connection when I turn the crank, it doesn't have enough power to push all the fertilizer through. And everything's clear, it's all wide open at the meter. It would be the whole tank if we just had an air pressure issue. It would be all those lines would be weak, but it's just the one. Well, that's what I think I'll do then, because the only other option is to dump the whole thing on the ground and come out with a loader and just spread it as much as possible. I give up. I just got to get it empty and get it out of my life. Finished with that field. The strips look pretty good. I'm happy with the strips that it's leaving. Obviously I've got some fertilizer left because I had 2 rows not going for, I'm guessing, a large percentage of the day there. So I'm gonna run down the road and just run that fertilizer in somewhere else where it'll be more useful, because here in the spring we're gonna need to blow on some fertilizer anyway, I'm guessing. At least we gotta blow on our urea, so we're gonna be digging it in anyway. I'm gonna try it here on some corn stalks where we hit them with the Mendeco, and I'm gonna work them in here. It's gonna be soybeans here next year, so I'll probably cut the rate down a little bit. But we own this field, so it always feels better throwing extra fertilizer at ground that you actually own. Because you just never know with the rented ground. If you're gonna make the extra investment, it may as well be on stuff that's a little more secure. Plus, I'm interested to see what this will do in corn stalks. This got baled over here. But this clearly didn't, and it didn't get harvested with the chopping header either. It was just a knife rolling header on the X9. It handles the residue fine. I think it would do better if it hadn't been worked already, because the residue is mixed in. If we got those row cleaner deals set up just right, I think it would do a better job with the strips, but it's not struggling with anything that I see. I sure wish that lunchbox wasn't empty. Oh, got a rock. So it's right in that area there. I don't know if the camera can pick that up or not, but that's the area that the rock is in. Maybe you can see it better from this side. Oh, that was way easier than I thought it was gonna be. We'll get that one in the spring. Yeah, I might need that, because it's just, I don't know, I'll get out and check the drive clutch, but I'm thinking the only way to get it empty is going to be to pull the meters out and open the things and just dump the crap on the ground, because I can't keep anything feeding no matter what I do. Well, I came over to South Ani, thought it would work out great. I'll put it here where we baled those stalks off. And it would work good to, you know, replace some of that, but the solenoid's kicked out, so the clutch should be spinning, so I don't know, but it's given me that code a few times, but now it's like, it's constant. I mean, going across the 40, it did it about 5 times, and it was only running maybe half the time. Yeah, that's, well, I don't think I'll be done down here by dinner tomorrow. I've probably got 10 acres left before that gets empty. Now I'm getting a warning saying that I'm getting clutch slippage, transmission setting error, drive failure causing 0 speed on rear tank, 0 pounds being applied. I need a beer.